welcome to Pumpkin's nail station. So today we're going to be removing these ones. These were the first AliExpress tips that I put on, where I did a infill on them for my birthday, so you can see how much it's grown out. Like, these have been on well over a month. So yeah, they've grown out. So I've removed some of them off camera for speed, but in hindsight I was just going to infill these, but I left them as long as possible. I got lazy, I did this one. If I'd infilled them at this point after 2 weeks, they would have been absolutely fine, but because I tried to leave them as long as possible, it started to go a little just here. Not sure if you can see it, but I tried to file that one down like from here, and it's still got some lifting. So I think I'm just going to remove them and do a fresh 10 nails in a separate video. We're going to remove them with the McCart sanding bands that I brought. We're going to try those, and we're going to use one of my e-files on the lower end of the market, which is this Melody Susie Scarlet e-file. It's plugged in over there. Let me just turn the camera so you can see it. It is that one was there. Let me just move this. You can't so you can see it. So it's that one just there, basically. It's got like a turn dial and an on and off. I do have a full unboxing and stuff like that of it, so I'm not really going to go into that today. We are just going to use it, because basically I want to try and use some of my cheap stuff. You know, instead of using an e-file that's like £169, that not at this time, with what's going on, nobody has that sort of money, do they? Let's be honest. So I'm going to start using some of the e-files that I've got that are a bit cheaper in my videos, and we're going to give them a go. But I actually really do like this Scarlet e-file. It is noisier than the brushless motor ones that I've got, but it works great. So we're going to use that. This is just a dust collector that I got, which is just again a McCart dupe. I got this off eBay for about 25 or 35 pounds, I can't remember, but it was cheap and it works really well. So in this McCart sanding band bundle you get a mandrel, which we're going to use, and we're going to use some of the medium grit ones to remove most of the bulk, because I want to try and see if they will come off just with a sanding band, as opposed to going out and buying carbide bits. Because if you're just starting out, again, you know, you might be nervous about using a carbide bit, and you might just want to get used to using a sand band, or you might not be able to afford those carbide bits, and then these are a good option to practice with. And then the closer I get to the nail bed, I'll use the finer one. I very rarely use the coarse because I don't think it's worthy of it, you know. So I'm going to get 2 out of each. And also, one thing I do want to say is, in this first video that I did, I'll link it up there and pop the thumbnail on, I realised something, that I used a soak off tip. The tip soaked off really well, but then when I got to the polygel, that's file off. So it kind of defeated the object, so I felt really stupid. So I just want to say that actually, if you want to soak off these, because they are gel tips, I probably would use a base coat or a builder in a bottle, something like that instead. And that's probably what I did on this one, and it worked great. And the builder in the bottle, I really loved doing it like that, so I think that will be my product of choice. So let's get into this then. So it's got a lock and an unlock there. So you unlock it like that, you pop it in. I always leave it, you can go like that, but I always leave it up slightly, lock it, make sure it's like that. And we're going to use these ones first. These are the medium grit. I'm just going to push it on, and we're just going to crack on with this. Am I plugged in? Here we go. I unplugged it when I pulled it out of it. So I'm going to go to about 12,000 RPM. You can hear it's not that loud. really. For a beginner's e-file, it's fine. But because I'm going to be turning this on as well, I'm just going to turn the sound down while I do this bit. Also as well, I just want to say that it's better to have it rotating away from you and then pull it towards you like that, because it will come off neater. If you did it like that, it's just going to run away. So do it like that, you know. But we're going to remove most of the tips first and then just file it off to a thin part, and then we're going to see if it soaks off once it gets, you know, once we get the bulk off. We're going to see how easy it soaks off. So I'm just going to turn the sound down now. Okay, so I decided to make this video as beginner friendly as possible. So the first part of this is me using the sanding band to remove the first two nails and the edges of the nails. Because basically I just wanted to use nail tools that were accessible to most people. So if you was going to buy an e-file for a beginner, you probably would use something like this or a portable one within this price bracket. So I just wanted to use sanding bands for this. I will move on to more you know, different bits and pieces for removing tips as the time goes on. But just in this video I decided to do this. And then in a minute you're going to see me clipping two nails off and using a hand file. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope, you know, you find it useful. I'm just starting out on this, so really very new. So I just wanted to start from the beginning and start with the basics for removing. Okay, so right here we're gonna clip off the length of the nails just with a nail cutter. So we're going to do that. We're going to clip two of the nails off with that, and then we're going to hand file the nail art off those two nails, and that will be like the hand filing route, and then they're the ones that's just going to be stuck straight into the acetone. So we're going to be doing that. So we're going to show you two that's been e-filed a little bit to remove the nail art and the bulk, and two that's been hand filed and use the clipper to remove the length. If you don't have a clipper, you can just file it, or you could use some normal nail clippers and clip the sides and it will come off easier, you know. But I would invest in some clippers if you're going to go around the hand filing route, because it will make your life a lot easier. And then I literally just buffed off the top coat and the nail art, the glitter, with the softer side of the e-file. I mean, softer side of the hand file, sorry. And then we're going to stick it in some acetone for about 5 minutes. So yeah, I'm sorry, I think I over zoomed in on this clip, but really all I'm doing is filing it off. I will do another video on this anyway, because I'm putting another set on. So if there's anything that I zoomed in on a bit that you couldn't see, that you want to see again, just let me know. Especially this part, I'll make sure I add it in at a much more zoomed out angle, so I can only apologize for that. And then on this one, I just on the dip powder one, I'm just removing the bling, and I just decided to sandband that off. So yeah, just watch it anyway, and if you've got any questions, just ask. Okay, so that one is kind of struggling to come off. So anyway, I think what we're going to do, we've got most of that off, we're just going to try and soak that off now we've got to that level and see what happens. So I'm just going to remove this one down off camera and come back with some acetone in my tray, all cleaned up, and we're just going to do a soak off. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so we have filed them. These two are the ones that I've just filed off like with a hand file. I've tucked these down with a sanding band. I took that one down with sanding band. Well, in fact I took all of them down, except I just removed some of the dip powder with a ceramic bit. So they're like the white ones, but I'll do a video based on different bits and pieces. But I wanted to make this one about using products that were low cost, that work just as well for somebody that is literally just starting out, that doesn't have a lot. So you can do tips with this. It is a little bit more difficult, so I would recommend eventually, you know, investing in something like a Efile, and just sanding bands will be fine as long as they're not extra bulky. If they are, then maybe a ceramic safety bit or something like that would be good, just to file it down to like this level. And then what we're going to do now is just stick our hands in some acetone that's been in some warm water for about 5 minutes or something like that. And we're just going to use these old files that I've got just for filing them down, and then maybe a little butter or something like that. Not my best stuff, obviously, for obvious reasons. So yeah, so that is basically what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to leave these in here for like 5 minutes, and then I'm going to come back to you all, okay? And then we're going to see if they've soaked off. So yeah, let's give it a shot. So I'll be back in a minute. I just want to say right off the bat, I can feel them like sticking, you know, there, so I can feel it soaking off. But I want to really give it a good soaking before we take them out. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so these have been in for about 2 or 3 minutes, about 3 minutes or something like that. So I've got this, I've got one of these little gel scrapers, and we're just gonna, ooh, let me zoom in on this. Just look at that. That is just coming away. So you could even rinse it off a bit in there. Get rid of that. Just look at that. That is just coming away really easily. The gel tip itself is. So you get rid of most of that. So I got rid of that. And then we're going to come on here and just look at that. That is just coming off. Let's scrape this away as well. And that was just a couple of minutes in the straight acetone. You could put it in cotton wool and acetone, you do whatever. You know, if you have, you know, eczema or something like that and you don't want to stick it in raw acetone, you can just put a bit of acetone really soaked onto some cotton wool and foil. And maybe put a bit, like, I don't know if you've got any emollient or something for your skin, you could put some of that just around there, and that might protect it a bit from the acetone. But obviously I'd say be careful if you do have eczema or something like that, using something like this. Like maybe test one nail or something, you know, give it a good test before you put it all over your hands, or just file it off, you know. Okay. Right, so that's starting to dry up a bit now, so I'm just going to give it a little file like that. Just file it away, any of the big noggins. Right, so I think I'm going to stick it back in here again just for a couple more minutes, off camera, come back, and we'll do that, and then we'll try soaking these ones, just the clear ones, in here as well, and we'll see what that looks like. So I'll be back in a mo. Just decided to speed up this part. I soaked them in there for another couple of minutes. Decided to make this video a more, like, you know, basic removal process, like if you was a beginner, like what kind of tools you would have. You would have a file, a buffer, probably one of these little tools here, and maybe a sand band, maybe an e-file with a sanding band, or just a hand file. Either way worked absolutely fine. I don't think you need an e-file for this job if you use a soak-off product underneath, like a builder in a bottle or a base coat. These are coming away really easy. And actually the two nails that I did the hand filing on, it wasn't any faster than using the e-file or just the hand file. It didn't really make that much difference. So you could just remove the nail art, like the top coat and the nail art, with a hand file, and then just soak them for 2 or 3 minutes, come out, do what I've done, and then just go back in. The closer you get to the hand, I would start to use a buffer or a soft file. But overall, you know, these tips have come off really well. I have done it this route. I could have done it faster if I did use maybe a carbide bit or a ceramic bit on my e-file, and then just file off, you know, the last little bit. But I wanted to do this, you know, the most basic or the cheapest route around what a beginner would be doing. So I hope you've enjoyed it anyway, and in a minute we're going to move on to the more clearer tips. So yeah, I'm just smoothing off what is left on the nail with a soft, really well used file and a buffer, and then in a minute I'm just going to wash them and shape them, and we're going to put some cuticle oil on them, and they actually looked really, really well. They didn't look damaged at all. So thumbs up to these tips. I've really enjoyed it. So obviously we're going to clean them, wash our hands and all of that stuff. I'm just going to spray them with some alcohol for you to take a look, but that's what they look like right now. So they are absolutely fine and dandy. So I'm just going to get rid of all this and get a new tissue. Go and wash my hands, get this off, and then I'm going to stick my hand in this again to soak these two off. I basically do the same process, so I'm going to come back and probably show you a little bit of what it looks like, but the process I'll probably just come back and show you when it's finished. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, right, so I'm going to take that out a sec, and we're going to just zoom this in a little. Okay, right. We're going to use this and see what the clear ones were like. They're coming off. It's coming off. Obviously I think the coloured ones did come away a touch easier. I don't know if it's because I'm using my non-dominant hand, it just does, it feels soft but not as soft as. Okay, so these are the tips that I actually put polygel underneath, which is not soak off. So actually the actual tip has come away really easy. What I'm actually having trouble with is the non-soak off polygel. So yeah, this is what I was saying before. I wouldn't recommend using file off polygel if you're wanting to soak off the whole product. I would use something like a soak off base coat or soak off builder in a bottle. But overall they have removed really well. Okay, right, so that is one of the hands just there, and then that's the other nails just there. So I've washed them and all of that, and we're going to use some of this Aimeili cuticle oil. I'm just going to run it all the way across and into the nails. You're going to make sure you get this all on your hands as well, especially where it's been sat in the acetone. A bit much there. We can just put some of that onto there. I'm just going to rub this all in. And rub it all into the fingers where it's been sat in the acetone, just so it gets a nice soaking. I'll just rub some onto this hand as well. Okay. And you can see they look fine. It's fully removed. This one did have a soak off polygel underneath the tip, so not a soak off, file off polygel. So I'm sorry about that. It's just a tram. I've had to open the windows. I can't bear it otherwise. I made an error. I've never really wore tips before, but I've seen people using polygel, and actually, upon soaking the tip off, the tip soaked off absolutely fine. It was the file off polygel underneath that was a pain in my rear end with a hand file. But I wanted to stick to the hand file removal because obviously I'm sticking to the, you know, the beginner that doesn't have a lot. They may just have a hand file, they might have a cheap e-file, they might not have, like, you know, £160 worth of e-file to remove it effortlessly. So yeah, I wanted to remove it on a budget type style. So yeah, these came off really well with the Soak Off Builder in a Bottle by Aimeili and the Soak Off Base Coat. They came off like a dream, no problem whatsoever. The tip on this came off absolutely great, but it was the polygel underneath that was a pain in the bum. So I guess, you know, the moral of that story is do not use a file off polygel underneath. And to be honest with you, although some say they're soak off polygels, I've not really found one that comes off that easy. You know, you do have to do some filing to get it off. So really, unless you want to keep a thin layer of polygel underneath, because you can do that, or you're going to infill them a lot and you want them to stay on like for a long time, then you don't mind that thin layer of polygel underneath, then you can do that. Otherwise, I would use something like either a base coat or a soak off builder in a bottle. The one that I used was the Builder Base by Aimeili. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's here. I used this one. So I really like using that because I know it actually comes off, and I use their base coat with that as well. So yeah, that is it for this video. I've just rubbed some hand cream in, what I got from Michelle from her giveaway. Thank you, Michelle. I love it. It's a really nice hand cream, especially if you've had your hands in acetone. So I'm just going to keep rubbing this in, not wash it off, and literally just leave it for a bit and just let it soak into the nails, and they look fine. They don't look damaged at all. So yeah, I'm going to be using some medium Coffin gel X tips from AliExpress from the same store on all 10 nails. So we're going to do some nail prep and then apply, say, 2 on this hand and 2 with the non-dominant hand, and see how we go. I have ordered some miniature lamps, but they haven't showed up yet. So we'll just use the one that I was using before that's been put away. So yeah, we'll do a couple on each hand, and then after that we'll do a design with all 10 nails with this pink glitter on, because I'm desperate to do that with a silver and a big butterfly, for a collab with a nail channel. She messaged me. She's not very big, so she asked me if I wanted to collab with her. Of course I said yes, because I want to help her. So I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I'm going to put it just there. So if you're not subscribed to this girl, please head over and check her out and say hi, because our butterfly collab will be coming up soon. It's my next thing to do, so I haven't forgot. It may even be up by the time this video comes out. So that is it. I think that's a bit long now. I think I've gone on a little bit, and that is it really. So thumbs up to the tips. I love them. So yeah, why sculpt? Really, you know, I think I will still do some sculpting, but you will see me doing a lot more with tips, I think. So that is it. I am gonna go. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay happy. I love you all, and that is it. bye. And if you did love this sort of content where I use cheaper products to do things, you know, like on a budget, just let me know if you want to see more of that and I'll do it, because I know I have been using a lot of things that's probably out of, you know, some people's price ranges. So during this pandemic, what is going on around the world, I thought I'd do something using the lower end and more for the beginners as well, that don't really have an awful lot of stuff to do stuff with. So I'm going to be doing a lot more removal and stuff like that with the Amazon type stuff and the eBay and the AliExpress type gels and all that kind of stuff for you guys. So if you want to see me do more of that, give this video a big thumbs up, because then I will know that it's something that you're interested in. So that is it for now. Bye.